Pow wow wow yippee yo yippee yay. Hey guys, welcome back to DAO Talk 22. And unfortunately, Cyrus the Good is on vacation, well deserved, for 2 weeks. So I will be doing this edition of the DAO Talk and next week's edition. So hope you guys enjoy. And today we're going to cover some really important topics. Number one, the recent reward program, affiliate program, ambassador program. Why are we doing this? Why we believe it will be a great success story. Number two, we're going to talk about something that was being debated recently in some of the SwissBorg chat forums. Make sure we're all aligned and look at the differences between fundamental and technical analysis and how the best tokens have been performing from 2018 all the way to 2020. So lots of research, lots of good stuff. And finally, we'll look at some of the updates with regards to SwissBorg, the company, the technology, and some cool things that are happening this week. So without further ado, a big shout out to all the SwissBorg family members, as you guys can see in this awesome picture. But even better here, you can see this awesome community of people. Thank you so much for your support. This is really cool, guys, because when it comes to the influencers, once you catch one or two guys' heart and they genuinely believe in your technology, they believe in your token economics, it just has this domino effect. Recently, I'm getting messages from many tier 1 influencers, tier 2 influencers from different countries that all want to work with us. And that's really what we're excited about, because number one, you guys got to understand that Ivan and Jordan were not sponsored. It was purely genuine. They have big bags of tokens, and just it's a real long-term relationship, which is always what we're looking for. And look forward to geolocalizing our influencer programs, across the world and in the zones where we can grow the community. So yeah, big shout out to Chris for your awesome contribution. Guys, don't forget to check out the Kryptonites DAO. There are videos in German, English, Spanish, and now Italian. And speaking of Italian, let me show you guys what happened here. Just yesterday, we had an amazing talk in Italian. Grazie mille, brother, for all the great work. And Filippo did a really good job at explaining what SwissBorg is all about. So thank you so much, guys. And don't forget to support our wonderful family in the SwissBorg DAO. They're doing a lot of good stuff. So the question of the day. Now, a lot of people are wondering, why are we doing this reward program? Why are we doing the affiliate program? And there's a lot of confusion between those different things. But one thing that you guys really need to understand is the number one single most important word in the SwissBorg Bible is community, right? Everyone knows that. And even when we ask people, what is the first word that pops up to your mind when you think about SwissBorg, the majority will say community. And we're very proud to be community-backed, meaning that we don't have VCs or shareholders telling us what to do, caring about their revenues instead of the token and all these things. We're community-backed through an ICO, and it's beautiful. Now, the question is, being community-backed and community-driven, does it make sense to you guys, as you can see here in this model, that the funds that were given through the community go through a traditional route and go to a third party? A third party that does not care about us, a third party that's just looking for the money and just see us as a number. Does it make sense that the funds coming from the community goes into these third-party situations? And not to say that this is a bad growth system, but it's just not a part of our SwissBorg DNA for now. We would rather continue to do things in a more long-term, sustainable way that makes the most sense to us. So let me give you guys an example of how we think the better system is. So here, we want to look at a long-term, sustainable, and community-driven growth system. So look at this, guys, behind me. So you can see we're community-backed, right? We're community-driven through referendums and through what we're doing as of today, and really look forward to the next referendum. So we really want here for it to be community-driven in the sense that we give the money back. We put the money back into our ecosystem of existing community members, and then you guys just bring new community members, right? And we share all the money between the community and no third parties. So number one, that's a part of our DNA. Community matters more than anything else. But not only that, because by bringing new members, they're actually going to contribute to the token, the CHSB token, because more and more premium accounts will be locked. More and more people will be transacting without premium, where the 20% protect and burn is activated. So the more users we get, the more the impact will have on the token. So it's a full circle. It's a full circle, totally sustainable, long-term, earned, and the growth will be organic through the community. So for us, this is really the best way to go. And for those who don't know, companies like Revolut, companies like Bybit, who not only had a referral or affiliate program, but had influencers very similar to us, have been extremely successful. Extremely successful. So really, that is the approach for us that makes the most sense, and I hope it makes a lot of sense for you guys as well. All right, so just for you guys to know, there are differences between the reward program and the affiliate program. So the reward program is more of a casual thing where you can get, your family, your friends, your coworkers, your colleagues, anyone just to get on the app and both win an actual ticket and be rewarded for it and earn up to 100 euros of Bitcoin per ticket. So, and it's fun, it's gamified, man. Like, a lot of these affiliate programs are just a code, just like we had in the community app, which was cool and it was very successful, by the way. We have currently 100,000 people actually playing that game, but now it has an element of fun, That's really what makes this program different from most programs. It's an actual ticket where you scratch it like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, where you have this surprise element. It's very addictive. And so for those reasons, we think it will be very, very successful. And speaking of success, for those who do not really believe in a reward or affiliate program, please understand that Revolut, Bybit, and also a company here in the UK called Webull have done similar campaigns and have been extremely, extremely successful. So not only this approach is in our DNA, but on top of that, there are many use cases that prove that this can be successful, especially if you have influencers involved. Because that's what we have. We have a great network thanks to Kryptonites. We have great friends, really people that we care about, and not just a number in a book or on a spreadsheet. So this is what we're looking for. And just for you guys to know, don't forget to share your invitation link with your friend. Make sure they download the app with your link. And then after that, the deposit minimum of 50 euros is not locked like other affiliate programs, but this is just for us to filter and make sure that we're not getting too many fake accounts, right? So minimize the damage and mitigate our risk in that sense. So we're looking forward to really seeing this succeed. The actual referral program in the community app was already a success. So with your help, guys, this could be absolutely massive. And by the way, let's look at this. Okay, guys, so here we go. We're going to scratch the ticket live, and I'm going to go through my very first reward program ticket. So I'm super, super excited. We can follow this here. I'm going to the rewards icon. My heart is starting to beat a little bit. Check out reward tickets. As you guys can see, yes, one of my contacts has deposited. So as you guys can see up here, I can redeem the ticket. So without further ado, let's go, guys. Are you ready? Here we go. Ready to go. Scratch time. Yes! Yeah! 22 euros! Yo, this is awesome, man. This is my first ticket. I made 22 euros for recommending a friend who's already loving the app. Close. Beautiful. There you go, guys. It's that much fun. Why not add a little bit of gamification in these affiliate programs, which are usually very, very boring. So hope that you guys have the same type of reaction. Don't forget to record. If you guys could please record your reactions, whether you're disappointed about how much you've made or super happy, both ways, it could be a lot of fun. So let's do that all together, guys. I'm very excited. As you can see here, I made 22 euros worth of Bitcoin. Quality is not really good, but definitely super excited. I can't wait until the other guys deposit so I can redeem more tickets. All right, guys, so this particular section was triggered by an argument we had between SwissBorg family members, the community, which really hurts me. It reminds me of a family like uncles and aunts or cousins getting into a dispute. We really don't want that. So I really want to share this. And by the way, this is, to me, the most important information when it comes to investing in crypto assets. So talking about the difference between fundamental analysis and technical analysis. And the problem that we have as of today, guys, is that a lot of the early day people, so people who invested in Bitcoin and in altcoins, and altcoin actually means alternative to Bitcoin, meaning, Bitcoin Cash, meaning Monero, meaning Zcash, meaning Litecoin, etc., etc. Most of these altcoins are purely speculative. right? They have a use case, but not really a utility. So they're just competing based on features, and they have use cases, but not utility. We'll dive into that a little bit more later, but because that triggered, habits among asset managers, trading desks, that most of these early assets were speculative by nature, technical analysis and price action was the default option. Everyone was using TA because there were not many fundamentals to really look at. And this is where you guys, the SwissBorg community and other communities, are way ahead of the curve compared to these guys. Because most of us realize that there is fundamental analysis within cryptos, and in many cases is a lot more useful than technical analysis. So without further ado, let's have a look at these things. And before we jump into FA versus TA, there's one very, very important part to look at, which is this, guys. So here you can see we have different market cap tiers, right? And this is really important because one size does not fit all. You cannot have a singular approach for crypto assets with different market caps. So first thing we need to understand is every coin and token that is above $200 billion is a mega cap. This comes from the traditional stock market, but a mega cap is for any coin and token that is above $200 billion of market cap, which Bitcoin was during its bull run, but currently not. So we don't have any assets, and that's why this market is so tiny still compared to traditional markets, right? So then second level, we have the large cap. As you guys can see here, the large cap is any coin or token between $10 billion to $200 billion. And those examples could be Bitcoin or Ethereum. Those are great examples of large cap coins. Now next we have the mid cap. So mid cap coins and tokens are any coin or token between $2 billion to $10 billion. Good examples here, as you can see, is Chainlink and BNB, the Binance coin. And then under that, we have small cap, 300 million to 2 billion. We have Chainlink and Tezos as examples. And then micro cap, the CHSB token, the SwissBorg token, another token here, RSR, Reserve Rights, which has really good token economics, a project that I'm following very closely. So then you guys can see up here, we have the nano cap. The nano cap coins and tokens are any token that is less than $50 million. So one thing you guys got to understand, why is it so important to understand the crypto asset sphere by market cap? Because generally speaking, and this is the status quo, it's not necessarily true, more people will think the higher you go in terms of the market cap, the lower the risk, but also the lower the return, right? So you guys can see here on this specific risk return table, you can see that up here, the higher you go in terms of return percentage, the more risk you're taking. So here you have emerging markets, and then you go to small cap equities, right? And then of course, the lower the market cap, the higher the risk, but also the higher the returns, right? But that is not necessarily true. The smart people like you guys in the SwissBorg community understand that there are asymmetric return assets. Asymmetric return assets are the assets that actually many people will think they're high risk, high return, but you, thanks to your due diligence, thanks to your research, you go deeper into it, and you really understand the economics behind it and realize, wait a minute, this is not as high risk as I thought. This is probably low risk, but high returns. And that is an asymmetric return asset. And those are the gems that we really want to look at. So it's really important that before we dive into fundamental and technical analysis, that we really understand the differences in market cap and in risk return assets. But also one thing to understand, guys, before you jump into that is understanding your own behavior, understanding your risk appetite. And based on your risk appetite, usually the more money you put into something, the lower risk appetite you should have, right? Because it's stressful. So it's really key to understand yourself as well on top of these things. So without further ado, FA versus TA, which is better, and which is better for a specific coin or token within a certain market cap. So as you guys know, technical analysis is usually price charts, it's usually indicators, oscillators, anything that you'd see on a graph, right? Anything that you'd see on TradingView is what you call technical analysis. And it really focuses on price action, right? And then you have fundamental analysis. Fundamental analysis could be really the macro picture. We're talking about macroeconomic conditions. We're talking about COVID. We're talking about the US presidentials coming up. These are macro events that actually move markets and have an impact on markets. Then you have industry analysis that you can see. So going from macro to industry. Industry could be simple things like, when Bitcoin has a big bull run, it tends to bring all the other assets with it, kind of the mother boats pulling all its smaller boats. So industry analysis, is also something to really look at. We've seen DeFi as well, which is a great example. And then company analysis. Like company analysis is something like, it could be something like Steve Jobs, unfortunately passed away. Do you believe Tim Cook will be able to drive Apple as well as Steve Jobs did? Those are simple things. It could be as specific as that. And then, of course, you have future profit and outlook, which could be the fundamentals, the value within the company. And Warren Buffett talks about value investing, which value, he usually categorizes that as money, anything that is measurable in money. But also we know that even more important than money is time, because money is something you can lose and earn back, but time, you can never earn it back. So these are things to consider, and I hope it's clear for you guys. Fundamental technical analysis broken into two parts. It's essential to understand this in order to understand the next part here. So obviously you guys know SwissBorg takes the best of on-chain and off-chain worlds, always the best of both worlds. And here again, the answer sadly is boring. It's the best of both worlds. But one thing to understand is, although it is the best of both worlds, there are ratios, right? There are ratios where sometimes you can look more at fundamentals than technicals, or vice versa. You can look more at technicals than fundamentals if there are no fundamentals. But without further ado, let's have a look at what the machine learning says at SwissBorg. So most people, most of the most successful investors in the world always prioritize fundamentals, right? Because if you have fundamental growth, that's the core of whatever asset we're looking at, then the price action will follow, right? But just to confirm this, guys, even at SwissBorg, our machine learning says the exact same thing. And this is really cool, guys. Let me show you guys what this is basically saying. So as you can see here, we're looking at Pax Gold token. So we're looking at the micro cap coins and tokens, and Engine token, which is also a small cap token. And usually with these type of tokens, look at the Cyborg confidence level and the accuracy. So on the vertical axis, we have accuracy. On the horizontal axis, we have confidence level. Look at the Cyborg predictor within the Wealth app. For those who don't know, you can find this within the Wealth app. It's a great tool. But if the Cyborg predictor is 80% confident, it is over 85% accurate when it comes to Pax Gold token. Look at the Engine coin, guys. So here the Engine coin, when the Cyborg predictor is roughly 80% confident, it is close to 75% accurate. Those are pretty impressive performances. And guess what, guys? The technicals to reach this, because you need to train and retrain machine learning until it can be as accurate as possible, it only looks at three things. Number one, support levels. Number two, resistance levels. And number three, the volume growth. How much volume is being put within an asset. Those three things, like the technical analysis, does not go further than that. It's just those three simple things, especially with lower cap coins and tokens. Technical analysis is extremely limited, and they're just the simple things that actually work. Here's the proof from our machine learning. And then here, having a look at something even more important. So we looked at how technical analysis is limited for the lower cap coins and tokens. It could be very useful for, let's say, large cap or mega cap coins and tokens, right? Because there's more volume, there's more liquidity, there's sometimes more data in terms of historical trends, especially for BTC that has more than 11 years of data to track. Then things become a little more accurate. But here, look at this, guys. Value investing, value versus speculative trading. So value investing, what is value? Value is, as we talked about in the previous slide, it's anything that can be measured in terms of money or in terms of time, right? But look at this, guys. If you see something with value and you look at investing in coins and tokens with real value and fundamentals, you will be more likely to be like Warren Buffett, except that you understand Bitcoin. He doesn't get it. But basically, it's people who are more long-term, slower growth. They buy and hold. They really feel like they're a part of the company, like you guys with the DAO, with your participation. Much less sensitive to short-term fluctuations. They don't care because even though the plane has a little bit of turbulence, they know that the final destination will be beautiful. They're compounding, so they're reinvesting. to just increase their position size, and they're more concerned about company fundamentals. So anything that's related to money or time and the actual company's growth, the traction. And then you have the trader who's really looking at short term, just buying and selling, and very sensitive to fluctuations because they can profit from these little fluctuations, right? But it's also something that requires a lot more time and effort, so it's not suitable for all. So they're two different things. But how can you avoid having the stress of the volatility? How could you avoid becoming emotional? How could you actually choose the coins and tokens that have the most value in the ecosystem? And this is my definition. Now, one thing to understand, everything needs to be in terms of a utility, not just a use case, utility. The difference of a utility versus a use case is the following according to my research. As you guys can see here, a utility token with real value needs to fulfill the 3 following criteria. Number 1, easy to use, usable by anyone. My grandma, my aunt needs to be able to use it, and it needs to be calculated in seconds in terms of the time you spent. Super easy to use. For example, the SwissBorg premium account or the membership utility is activated in 2 taps. It's really hard to get easier than that. There are other platforms that have also made this super easy, like Celsius, like Aave and stuff like that, though that is a criteria that you cannot miss. Even Binance with the BNB, if you want to activate the discounts, is actually not super user-friendly. So number 2, real value. You need to either save money or be able to make money or save time. That is what real value is, as we just saw in terms of value investing. So it needs to be measurable in money or time. Number 3, constant use. Not just use it, tomorrow or in 1 year. You need to be able to take advantage of it every day. When you go through Amazon Prime accounts, every time you order something, you can get free delivery. You can use it every day. And that is real use. So used by anyone, used anytime, and real value are the key things to really define whether this project is valuable in terms of its coins, tokens, and token economics. So here is some proof, guys, to show you that, this is not just, looking at a crystal ball, and it's a lot more calculated. And sorry, guys, I'm not trying to boast anything or not, but I'm just showing you that there's evidence that this philosophy or this type of criteria actually works. So look at this, guys. I posted this Twitter on December 31st, 2019. And I said that out of the top 5 performing coins and tokens, 4 of them were utility tokens in 2019. So 4 out of 5, guys, not altcoins, not protocol tokens, they were utility tokens. And of course, 2018 was BNB, so that was also a utility token. So there's clear track record on 2018, 2019, that utility tokens are clearly the best in terms of returning gains. And then one thing that's really interesting here is, let me show you guys in terms of the performances this year. So far, guys, this year, the number 1 performing token in the first 6 months in H1 is the Aave token. As you guys can see here, this screenshot was taken this morning, and Aave has had incredible returns, so 2,000% over as of today. And you can see in second position, it's a CHSB token, guys. So we can be really, really proud. We're number 2 in the first half of the year. And I predicted this, by the way, guys. I don't know if you saw this in here. I said that the CHSB will enter that list someday. And that was December 31st, 2019. Just because I understand token economics and I really focus on fundamentals rather than too much TA. And then look at this, guys. Out of the top 5 performing coins and tokens this year, 3 of them are utility tokens. Again, 2018, 2019, 2020, every single year for the past 3 years has been based on fundamentals, not TA, fundamentals. TA may help you, though, to enter and exit, right? If you want to take profits or time yourself right. So that's not to take any credit away from TA. There's still a lot of things you can do with that. And then look at that top 8. Out of the top 8, half of them are utility tokens as well. So there's without doubt, this is definitely a valid point. Now, where do we want to go with the SwissBorg token? This is really, really important, guys, because we know that we have something similar to the Amazon Prime membership. And guess what? Amazon Prime is the perfect example. It's the perfect role model for us. And I'll tell you why. Because Amazon has 150 million people on their Amazon Prime out of roughly 250 million users. So more than 50% of all Amazon users have locked in the Amazon Prime. So this is a great goal for us at SwissBorg, you know. Right now we have roughly between 8 and 10% of people who activate their premium, but we're going to make it so indispensable that we're going to eventually achieve 50% of people staking the CHSB, removing it completely from the market and really adding some strong scarcity. So scarcity will be the key, and adding maximum value to the token rather than making money on our side is really what's going to drive growth within this token. For those who invested in ADA coin, well done, guys. It's been exploding all the resistance levels. VeChain has surpassed Neo. It is now just very close to Tron. It may be the #1 blockchain project out of Asia pretty soon. So that's pretty crazy, guys. Very good for those who got those. And for the CHSB token, for those who are a little bit worried about the consolidation is necessary, guys. We did over 10x this year. 10x. Over 10x this year. And it was the #1 performing token. So #1, consolidation is necessary before we can kind of flatten the curve and then go back up. So that's one thing to understand. Also, another thing to understand, guys, is over the weekend, when we dropped at 8.3, 8.4 cents, within the Wealth app, we had $500,000 of buying pressure. That's how hard, how strong the actual support levels were, and that's how much the community believes in the economics of our token. So that's really amazing. All right, guys, let's move into SwissBorg, the company. We are now over 60 employees, and what is absolutely spectacular is 60% are engineers, guys. That's really cool. Google has a goal of having at least 51% of their staff in engineers. We have 60%, 22 nationalities. And for those who are new to SwissBorg, you also got to understand that in the EU, we have a very strong competitive positioning. Because in the EU, very few companies out there, brokers or exchanges, have 2 financial licenses, the virtual currency exchange license, the wallet license, but we're also a VQF member of an SRO in Switzerland for anti-money laundering. So really, you know, we have a lot more trust when it comes to these things. And speaking of the team, welcome to the new family, Jackie, our senior marketing manager. She's so sharp. She's been here for a very little time. She already understands things better than I do. So really happy to have Jackie on board. And we also have Sergey, a new data engineer, to help us with the team. And it looks like both of them are really excited to be on the team, which is great. You know, there's such a good vibe. The corporate dynamics at SwissBorg is mind-blowing. Seriously, it's a real family. It really is. In terms of team diversity, numbers with regards to the balance between gender ratio has dipped a bit. Unfortunately, we're now at 32% of women versus 68.1% of men. We definitely want to get those numbers higher. We need more women in the space. Women really have skills that most of us guys do not. So definitely these are numbers that we look forward to increasing over time. You guys can see we're very distributed now. It used to be mainly Switzerland, Japan, and UK. Now we're trying to distribute the teams a bit more on different time zones and really be able to have coverage across the world. Guys, as you know, last month's biggest achievement, we now have 17 fiat gateways. That is the top 3 for all crypto apps in just 3.5 months of launching the product. So you guys can imagine the banking solutions team is really working hard to get these gateways on board. And, you know, we're really excited to be one of those platforms where you can have global accessibility with global liquidity as well. So that's very exciting. One thing that you guys need to know. Now, this is very interesting. And it's not available to you, but we just want to show you what the Smart Engine is able to do and how we could possibly scale the Smart Engine. So here, have a look, guys. We're making an order of $1 million, right? This is a simulation of a $1 million order, and the trading pair is BTC USD. So we're buying Bitcoin with US dollars, right? And look at this, guys. To execute this through the Smart Engine, we went through 13 routes. 13 routes to create the best rates, not to find, to create the best rates. And as you guys can see here, the spread is really small, but the spread was only 0.41% for $1 million. Now, if you do the same, you execute the same trade on one of the big exchanges with a single order book, they will never get under 0.60%. And I've talked to some of the tier 1 exchanges. They were really impressed when they saw this trade. So imagine, guys, at the moment, of course, this is not available for the community. We need to scale the tech, make sure that everything is tested before deploying. But imagine, guys, that at one point, if someone can execute a $1 million trade, or even 1,000 BTC trade in one tap without relying on OTC. Now that would be pretty freaking epic when it comes to volume. So lots of potential with the smart engine. It will take time, but definitely scalability will really give us a significant advantage in the future. And as you guys know, this month we're working on multi-fiat. This is awesome because I haven't come across a single app with this option. Why is it so exciting? Because for those of you who are interested in FX trading, this is not FX trading, but you can have you can allocate your crypto fiat, your fiat into different fiat currencies. So let's say your local currency is not the most robust, maybe not the most stable, then you might want to, for instance, get some Swiss francs, because we know that the Swiss franc is one of the best safe havens across all currencies, even the US dollar. So this really is giving people an opportunity to also not only be able to deposit and withdraw in different currencies, but also own currencies on the app that may be better than their local currency in case we do have a second crisis, which I hope we don't, but it's always good to be ready for that. All right, guys, so moving on to all the data, facts and figures on the Wealth app. Now, as you guys know, there's a big bull run that kind of kicked off in the past few days, but in terms of activity in the Wealth app, things have slowed down a bit because Bitcoin is a bit flatter, Ethereum was a bit flatter, so was the CHSB, consolidated a little bit and then was flat. So the numbers are not as spectacular as they were in the past weeks. That being said, they're still up. So week on week, we still have a 10% increase on the number of users, which is great. And with the reward program and affiliate program, I think this number is going to absolutely explode. And then in terms of asset under management, the funds haven't moved from the Wealth app. It's just since the SwissBorg token value kind of corrected a little bit. It's a little bit lower, but nothing to worry about. In terms of weekly volume, roughly 5 million on the week. Now the protect and burn, it's not 2 times this month, but the good news is we have the reward program, right, to actually activate more users and more funds for the protect and burn. So far, 11,500 numbers of CHSB staked. So the actual premium membership is going up. It's still week on week going up every week, despite the fact that it is not very accessible for all at the moment because it's still, roughly $4,000 or $5,000 to deposit, not to spend. It's just a deposit. So if you believe in the project, it's definitely worth it, and I highly recommend activating the premium without a doubt. And then you go asset analysis, 280,000, 8,500 users, and the most exciting metric of all, guys, is of course AUM, number of users are really important, right? But number 3, it's retention. Retention is really the metric that makes you realize that people are in love with your product. They're in love. And guess what, guys? Last Saturday, out of 13,500 users, we had over 6,000 people using the app on the same day. So close to 50% of all the users were using the app on the same day. And that, in terms of retention, my friends, says a lot about the lovability of the Wealth app. And that's really, really key. Now, SwissBorg in the news, you guys, there's an awesome article in CDM. It's the most distributed financial newspaper in the UK. So it's great to have Cyrus and Anthony there. Great article. More and more influencers are making videos based on SwissBorg, and we're really creating lots of awareness these days, guys. It's really crazy. And before we leave, guys, the video of the week, Kryptonites. Dear crypto community. No, I'm just kidding. But definitely, guys, Data Dash, Nicholas Merton, Nicholas and myself, we just clicked so well, guys. Seriously, he's such a good person, and we just genuinely felt good with each other. And the interview, according to the Kryptonites team, is top 3 in terms of all the videos we made. So really, really exciting stuff, guys. Don't forget to watch this video. All right, guys, we're done for now, but don't forget to comment below so that you can also earn some SwissBorg goodies and swag. And I'd like to finish this with a sentence that I've always been using since the very early days, even in the bear market. The future is bright, my friends. And why do I know it? it's because I understand the fundamentals. Thank you so much, guys. Love you, and see you next week.